What is going on, guys? Miles here, and welcome to my gun guide for the lever action, which is a DLC sniper which was recently added to COD WW2 alongside the Attack of the Undead event. The reason I'm making a gun guide for this weapon is because currently it is the only DLC weapon I have from this event, so if you guys have any of these DLC weapons and you have gameplay of them which you're willing to share with me, then let me know down in the comments below and I'll give you a shout out in another video. So let's get into it, starting with the weapon stats. In this video I'll probably be comparing the lever action to the Type 38 and the Kar 98 because all of these weapons are bolt action snipers and they're the other popular snipers in the game, so let's compare and see whether the lever action is better. Starting off with the damage, the Kar and the Type 38 have a damage of 95, whereas the lever action only has a damage of 75, but like I've said in some other videos, this damage value isn't that important because the main area which you want to look at for snipers is the multipliers for the hitboxes, as that's where you can find out whether the weapon is a one-shot kill to like the chest or the abdomen, etc. However, the damage number is kind of useful because it gives you an indicator of how strong a weapon is through like bullet penetration, and obviously the lever action is going to be worse than the Kar 98 and the Type 38 in that regard. But as for the multipliers, basically you want any multiplier above 1.5 to make the weapon a one-shot kill, and the lever action has a multiplier of 2 for a headshot, 1.5 for a chest shot, and 1.5 for arms, which makes those areas which I just mentioned a one-shot kill. However, if you shoot them in the abdomen or the legs, it will be a two-shot kill for this weapon, unless the person you're shooting is already injured, at which point you can still one-shot them. So the damage is worse than the Kar 98, which can one-shot in the abdomen. However, it is exactly the same as the Type 38 in terms of the areas which you can one-shot them. Obviously though, with the Type 38, because it has a higher damage, then there's a better chance of getting a one-shot kill to the abdomen because it deals 95 damage instead of 75. But moving on to the rate of fire, this is where the lever action is really good. It has a rate of fire of 60 rounds per minute, whereas the Kar 98K only has a rate of fire of 48 rounds per minute, and the Type 38 has a rate of fire of 51 rounds per minute, so it's about 20% faster than the Kar 98, which is pretty damn good to be honest, and that is one really good feature of this weapon. The lever action holds 6 bullets in the magazine, which is kind of nice because the other two snipers only hold 5. It's not that important though, it's kind of nice, but it's not like an amazing benefit or anything like that. As for the ADS time, the lever action is in between the other sniper rifles. It has an ADS time of 370 milliseconds, which is pretty good, but the Type 38 is slightly faster, being only 350 milliseconds, but the Kar 98K is really slow. It did recently get nerfed, so now the Kar 98K ADS time is 500 milliseconds, so the lever action is a lot better than that, but it is slightly worse than the Type 38. So far you might be thinking the lever action is an amazing sniper rifle, and it is pretty good, but it does have one really big downside in my opinion, and that is the reload time. And this is a little bit complicated because typically with most weapons in COD they have 2 reload times. One when your weapon is fully empty and it has no bullets left, which is a longer reload time, and it also has a shorter reload time when your weapon has at least 1 bullet left, but because the lever action reloads 1 bullet at a time, it works slightly differently. And typically when I'm making a gun guide, I tend to go with the shorter reload time because it's the reload which most of you guys are going to be doing, but I can't really do that with the lever action because I don't exactly know when you're going to reload. Are you going to reload on 5 bullets or 4 bullets or 3 bullets, because all of those will have different reload times. But if you have no bullets in your lever action, it's going to take 6.5 seconds to reload, which is pretty crazy considering the longest out of any sniper when empty is 4.5 seconds. And basically for every bullet missing, it's going to take about 1 second to reload. And typically for the other snipers, when they aren't empty, it's going to take 2.5 seconds to reload, so you can expect on average maybe a 3 or a 4 second reload with the lever action. So now we know the stats of the weapon, we can use that information to try and create a best class setup and try and patch the weaknesses of the lever action. For the weapon attachments, the main ones I would recommend are ballistics calibration, because that's just generally a pretty good attachment and it's going to improve your accuracy, as well as FMJ, because like I said, the weapon has kind of low base damage, so it's not very good at bullet penetration, and if you have FMJ then it's going to help you get more of those one-shot kills. But honestly, I can't really think of a great third attachment for this weapon. Extended mags at first I thought might be a good idea because of the super long reload time, but even with extended mags, the weapon still reloads one bullet at a time, so it's going to be an omega long reload time still, so wouldn't really recommend extended mags. I guess you could go with rapid fire, but it only improves your rate of fire from 60 to 63 rounds per minute, so that's one bullet every 20 seconds. It's not amazing, but I guess it's not too bad either. Once again, for the basic training, I kind of struggle to come up with a good one. Typically, because I play a lot of war, I usually run Saboteur on like all of my classes, but I'm tempted to try out Hustle with this weapon, and it might sound kind of stupid at first because Hustle allows you to reload faster and while sprinting. Obviously the sprinting bit is kind of dumb, but reloading faster with this weapon is kind of nice because that is one huge downside of the weapon. For your secondary weapon, I would just recommend a standard P08, because if you're mid gunfight and you run out of ammo with this thing, you are not going to have enough time to reload it, so you want to have a pistol which you can switch out to and just wreck someone if you get like a hit marker or if you run out of ammo. And finally, for your division, this one isn't so important and it kind of depends on what game mode you're playing. If you play a lot of war like me, then you're probably going to go with armored, but if not, then maybe something like mountain should be just fine. So I would say the weapon is pretty good overall. I'm really unsure whether I prefer it over the Type 38, but I would say it is one of the top sniper rifles in the game, and I would recommend trying to get it as soon as it comes out in a contract, or if you have enough armory credits then purchase it through that. But there we have it, that just about sums up my gun guide for the new lever action DLC weapon in Call of Duty World War II. Like I mentioned earlier, if you guys have any of the other DLC weapons and you want to see me make a video on them, let me know down in the comments below if you have some gameplay of them. But if you found this video useful, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Call of Duty, but I'll see you guys in another video.